Okay, so good evening, members of council, members of the staff, and members of the public. Welcome to our December 7th council meeting. Excuse me. I have a motion moved by Sam McDonnell, second by Lyle Warden. Be resolved that the council meeting of the Township of South Glengarry now be opened at 7:01 p.m. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. If everyone would please stand for the playing of our national anthem. Okay, thank you, Kaylin. I have a motion moved by Stephanie Jaworski, second by Sam McDonnell. To be resolved that the council of the Township of South Glengarry approve the agenda. Is there any additions to the agenda, Madam Clerk?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Lang has asked that item number 7 under information only, which is the request for municipal support from the Raisin River Conservation Authority, be pulled.
Okay, so that would go under other business. Correct? 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 Yep. Okay, so we'll move number 7, request for municipal support from RCA to number 1, I guess, under other business. Any others? Not seeing none, so that would be as amended. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Any declaration of pecuniary interest? Deputy Mayor Warden?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to declare a declaration of pecuniary interest on the Boundary Road Servicing Agreement that will be discussed in camera. So I will step away from the table at that time.
Okay, so noted. Thank you. Any others? Not seeing none. I have a motion moved by Martin Lang, second by Stephanie Jaworski. Be resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Council of the Township of South Glengarry held on November 16, 2020, including the closed session minutes, be adopted as circulated. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. I have a motion moved by Lyle Warden, second by Martin Lang. Be resolved that the minutes of the public meeting of the Council of the Township of South Glengarry held on November 16, 2020, be adopted as circulated. All in favor? Motion's carried. And I have a motion moved by Sam McDonnell, second by Stephanie Jaworski. Be resolved that the minutes of the special meeting of the Council of the Township of South Glengarry held on November 20th, 2020, be adopted as circulated. All in favor of the motion? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll move right to presentations and delegations. The Optimist Club of Lancaster, the president, Mrs. Donkers.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Ann.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, first of all, for accepting our request and listening to our request. So just to summarize basically the letter that I had sent in, the Optimist Club has been very busy in South Glengarry since 1986 when we first started. And we raise a lot of money and we do a lot in the community. So we really felt that we wanted some place of substantial size to put our name to. And we thought because we were quite the driving force behind getting this building finally built, I know it had been a long process getting done, but we did help move it along quite a bit and help raise some money for it. And we do have plans to raise money and do other things in Smithfield Park. So we were really hoping that we would be able to put our name somehow on the building, but to still recognize it as a community building, not as our building as such. So basically that's our request.
Okay, thanks, Anne, for your presentation. I'm going to open it up to members of council if they have any comments or questions. Councillor McDonnell.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just like to thank Ms. Donkers for her request and for everything that the Optimist Club does for the community. Between the tree lighting and Canada Day, I know everything you guys put on is always well attended and very well appreciated, especially by council.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor McDonnell. Councillor Jaworski.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to second what Councillor McDonnell has stated, and I'd also like to add that, thank you very much for all the work that the Optimist Club does specifically for our schools. And, the additional opportunities both in sports, like using the arena, as well as the oratorical contest that you sponsor. Thank you very much for that and the work that your whole group does. I was hoping that you could speak a little bit to how you see the future of what the Optimist Club might do at Smithfield Park.
Oh, certainly. We've got several ideas. We wanted to see basketball nets put up possibly on the rink for the summertime or somewhere in the park. We would love to see benches put up. A long-term goal, I don't know long-term, but a larger goal, I should say. We would love to see a bandstand or a band shell of some sort of stage, something to that effect put up. That is obviously a much larger, would be a bigger fundraising project. But we've already got some money put aside for that idea. And then just anything that's going to help with the children to expand their playground facility or anything, skate park, stuff like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
If I could just follow up with a comment. I'm very supportive of what the Optimist Club does and their goals, and I certainly think that what they're asking for here makes a lot of sense. And I would like to see their organization, brought in very closely with the different opportunities that that could be, coming for the future at Smithfield Park. So I'd like to work in collaboration with them as much as possible.
Thank you.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Warden.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you for your presentation. I'm not going to go over what everybody else said. I'm in total agreement. I questioned, will staff be coming back to report on the request?
Yeah, so I was going to make that recommendation that this presentation would go back to staff and staff would come back with a recommendation or more input at a later date, probably in the new year at this point. But yes, that's the recommendation for sure. That's been our recommendation after any presentations. Okay. Tim,
Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if Tim had something to say or you're just coming on.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I was just going to ask if that's direct through me, then we will come back as the CEO. I'll direct staff to come back with a report in the near future.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Lang.
And I'll just add my words that I don't see a problem with this, and if we're looking to give staff a little bit of direction, I say let's go ahead. On the positive side, what's what they're looking for.
Yep. Thank you. So I think Mr. Mills knows what to work on, I guess, in regards to what to bring back to council's direction at this point. So if there's nothing further. Ann, thanks very much for your presentation, and I echo the rest of the colleagues around the table in regards to what the Optimist Club does for Lancaster in the area. And he's done great work since '86, and we look forward to the continuous work in the near future. So thank you to you and your family. We wish you all a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. And the same to the rest of council as well. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to staff reports. Road dedication, Connortown Road. Mr. McDonald. McDonald.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. The staff report before you is somewhat of a housekeeping item. There was a severance request on Connortown Road, and through the search of title and the survey that was done to create the parts to widen the road to 66 feet, it was found by the legal counsel of the property owner that the actual section of the road cutting through their property had not been registered by bylaw as a public right-of-way. So this is the first in two staff reports you'll see. This is to dedicate the actual former 40-foot road allowance as public highway, and then as the severance proceeds and nears completion, there will be a follow-up to dedicate the widening of Connortown Road as public highway. So our plan is there showing the part 5 that needs to be dedicated at this time. It also shows the parts that will be dedicated in the future pending the approval of the severance. So this is to address an issue that was an oversight at some point in the past.
Okay, thank you. It's pretty self-explanatory. Any comments or questions from members of council? Not seeing none. I have a motion moved by Martin Lang, second by Lyle Warden. Be resolved that the council of the Township of South Glengarry pass bylaw 80-2020, being a bylaw to dedicate part of 5 on registered plan 14R-6547, pin number 671130146, as public highway, be read a first, second, third time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council the 7th day of December 2020. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you. And we'll go to number 2. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Number 2 is uniform purchase. Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council and members of the public. This evening, I'm going to be speaking to you about the staff report speaks to uniform purchase that we're looking to enact in the 2020 budget year. The South Glengarry Fire Service, we provide uniform items to all staff as a basic kit, being pants, shirt, belt, and tie. In appreciation to the added responsibilities and adjusted workload that our first responders have done in the year 2020, specifically to COVID-19, we're looking to propose a one-time purchase of an additional uniform item. That item is a high-quality sweater or a piece of outerwear, more commonly termed a job shirt in the fire service. The proposed order would entail the purchase of one job shirt for each of the 104 active current members, along with 10 valued members who have retired in this past year. 3 suppliers were contacted in regards to supplying this item for us. All 3 South Glengarry had a history with. We purchased various items in various departments from these 3 firms. One firm did not have a comparable product. The other 2 firms did. They do sell this same product to other fire services and emergency services combined. This item was not specified in the 2020 budget. Administration is proposing that it would be a reallocation of approved 2020 budget funds. So in the staff report, I speak to and explain it's going to come from 3 areas proposed. There is a miscellaneous item in the administrative budget and unutilized funds at the time being that speak to funds that we give each station for a holiday event, for a Christmas party, or a station award event, sorry, that amount would be $2,500. We're also well under our budgeted funds for equipment repair and maintenance. So there's an amount there that would be able to be utilized. And the third amount would be, there's approximately $700 remaining in the uniform budget line that we would be able to access. So out of those, it wouldn't be the full amounts remaining out of those three, but we will take various amounts out of those that would come up with the total. So administration is proposing the purchase be awarded to Unisync Group Limited in the amount of $10,830. South Glengarry has achieved excellent service and products from this firm in the past, and they are our main uniform supplier. So we're quite confident in the product that they're able to provide. So basically, just in review, we're looking to get council permission to utilize unbudgeted funds for this project, but they were budgeted funds that we're going to reallocate from other line items. So there won't be any impact on the 2020 budget because these funds were already existing. They'll just be reutilized. So yeah, if there's any questions of council, I'd be glad to ask. This is something that's out of the ordinary, and any questions would be appreciated.
Okay, thank you, Chief Robertson. I'll open it up to questions from members of council. Deputy Mayor Warden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief, are these uniforms flame retardant? Or are they, is it just the unit price seems a little high?
I'll just wait. I think you froze there for a moment. I'll give you a moment. Oh, there we are. Okay. So unless there was something else when you had froze for a second. So your question, are they flame retardant? No, they're not an operational firefighting piece of uniform. They are something that would be station wear or something for a training event that is not in a hazardous environment. The price of them, that includes all of the embroidery or applying the patch, but these are also even though they're in essence a sweatshirt, they're very much comparable to a piece of outerwear like a jacket. So the quality is there. It's not a piece of clothing that will wear out in a few basic years. So,
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? I do have a motion, so I'll read it. I have a motion moved by Sam McDonnell, second by Stephanie Jaworski. Be resolved that staff report 176-2020 be received, and that the council of the Township of South Glengarry award the purchase of uniform items to Unisync Group Limited as per their submission of $10,830 plus HST. And furthermore, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign any relevant documents. I don't see any further comments or questions. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Robertson. Okay, we'll move to number 3, site plan control agreements for Grant Mario Construction. Mrs. Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You'll see that I did one staff report for 2 site plan control agreements. The reason why I did this is because the company is basically the same owners for both applications and they're side by side. A couple of years ago, South Glengarry created 4 building lots in Glenwalter on Glenwalter Park Road. 3 of those building lots were purchased by Grant Mario Construction. And they're now at the stage where they would like to develop 2 of them. The 2 lots that are proposed to be developed are located in the middle of the 4. So between the south and north end, and they're proposing to construct 2 3-unit townhouses, 1 on each lot. So because they're multi-residential, they are subject to site plan control. And what the applicant did in this case was developed a site plan to demonstrate that the 4 lots how they would be drained, that they're going to, be properly drained, function, not negatively impact one another. However, the approvals of the agreement this evening is for lot 2 and lot 3 out of the 4 lots. And it's anticipated that they'll be looking for at least one of the building permits before the end of the year to start the 3-unit townhouse. So in the agreement, there's the typical clauses that we would normally have. And it's been reviewed by our chief building official, as well as other applicable staff. And we're putting the agreement before council this evening for approval for both lots.
Okay, thanks, Mrs. Haley. Any comments or questions? Nice to see some buildings on those properties. So I have a motion moved by Lyle Warren, second by Stephanie Jaworski. Be resolved that staff report 177-2020 be received and that the council of the Township of South Glengarry approves bylaws numbers, 81-2020 and 82-2020, and the site plan control agreements for the properties legally described as parts of Lot 12, registered plan number 101, being parts 2 and 3 of reference plan 14R6380 in the geographic township of Schlumberg, now in the Township of South Glengarry, the County of Glengarry, and authorizes the mayor and clerk to execute the site plan control agreement. All in favor of the motion? Thank you. Motion's carried. Thank you, Mrs. Haley. And number 4 is we'll move to Tyotown Heights subdivision zoning amendment. Mrs. Haley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Tyotown Heights subdivision was draft plan approved by the United Counties in June of this year. And the developer is now proceeding with clearing all of the conditions in order to seek final approval for the plan of subdivision. Zoning amendment was a draft plan condition. And the reason for that is because the subject properties were zoned open space, and we're now bringing them into compliance with the zoning bylaw that will allow building permits to be issued once the subdivision is registered. You can see that there are 5 building lots at 1 acre in size each. You may recall we recently had the public meeting, and we did have a couple members of public participate in our public meeting. They asked some questions really about entrances, surrounding land uses, but we definitely didn't receive any negative comments at all. It was really the public participating in the meeting to learn more about the proposed amendment. So that being said, I'm recommending the zoning amendment to be approved. It conforms to the provincial policy statement and the official plan.
Thanks, Mrs. Haley. Everybody's familiar with this property. Is there any questions or comments? Not seeing none. I have a motion moved by Martin Lang, second by Sam McDonnell. Be resolved that staff report 178-2020 be received and bylaw 83-2020, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 38-09, the comprehensive zoning bylaw for the Township of South Glengarry for the property legally described as part of lot 38 and 39, registered plan number 101 in the geographic township of Schlumberg, now in the Township of South Glengarry, the County of Glengarry, be rezoned from open space to residential 1 to permit residential development as per the recent draft plan approved subdivision containing 5 residential lots. The Council of the Township of South Glengarry confirms that there were no negative oral comments from the public received on this application. Therefore, there was no effect on the decision. You heard the motion. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, Mrs. Haley.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to other business. Number 7, request for municipal support for RRCA. Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. It might be a little bit later than what Raisin River was hoping for, but this is the first meeting we've had since they had sent us this. I'm sure most people are aware that the conservation authorities, the province is looking at conservation authorities and looking to restructure them a little bit. And, you know, I'm not against any of that. I think some of that's going to turn out good. My concern is that to make sure that the province is consulting with the conservation authorities and with the municipalities to make sure that the agreements and the things that are in place that we want to continue to keep happening are able to. So I'm in favor of this resolution that the conservation authorities sent us, and I'd like to send it on to the province. And I'm just wondering what everybody else is thinking, if you'd like to do that. or if there's anything in it with it that you're concerned of.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Lang. I do agree with you. I think we might be a little bit late, but I have no issue with supporting it and certainly sending it off to the ministry and to the province. But the problem is it won't come back to the 21st meeting, so it'll be a little extra late at that point, unless the clerk can do a motion for this evening after. Maybe we can go through the rest of the stuff and she can write up a motion so that we can move it this evening and move it on a little bit quicker. If council's okay with that?
There is a draft resolution in our agenda. So if people are in favor of that actual resolution, then we likely could just go ahead and pass that one.
Hang on one second. I'll just go back to that page 104. So we're just going to follow the same one. Is that what you're asking for?
The bottom of page 107 would be the therefore it resolved.
Yeah.
Therefore be it resolved. There's 3 points under that.
Yeah, it's the one the RRC is basically asking for.
Yeah. Not the one they sent, but the one that they've drafted as a.
Drafted for us, yeah. So the clerk will copy and post that one.
Yep. I'll
Or
get that
paste
ready
it,
for
sorry,
you.
and then we'll come back in a few minutes in regards to passing that motion.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll just move on until she's ready for that one. I have a motion moved by Lyle Warden, second by Stephanie Jaworski. Be it resolved that the council of the Township of Suckling accepts the items presented on the agenda as committee reports for information purposes only. All in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. And we'll go to unfinished business. We'll go to Mr. McDonald, sorry, Township on Docks on Township property.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. We are moving forward with the documents to sell these lands. The 3 properties are in process. There is one property that we are still working to make connection with the property owner, and we still need to have some discussion with the property across from the Stinson gas station. Other than that, all of the rest of the properties are either completed, those sales, or in process and should be completed by the end of the year, with closing dates in early 2021.
Okay, thank you. And fire protection ponds?
We've met with the Richmond Road property, and they are looking at some options there, but as we had discussed earlier, and staff report that was provided to council, their agreement is with the township, and we have an obligation there. So we will just continue to honor that agreement until such time as they might wish to see a change there. We are just waiting for one of the 2 property owners on the Middle Street in Hay Road to set up a meeting to discuss creating an agreement for that fire protection pond, and we're just waiting for a schedule on that meeting. So hopefully that'll happen within the next week.
Okay, thank you. And number 3, we'll be discussing a little bit later, municipal servicing from the city of Cornwall. That'll be coming up later, so we can discuss it further then.
That's correct.
And LED streetlights for Glen Walter.
We are just putting the proposal together to present to Cornwall Electric, working with our consultant, and I'm hoping that we'll have that presentation ready in the next week or 2.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. And we'll move to corporate services. Mr. McDonald, are you on?
Yes, I'm on. I'm having my internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you clear. Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to run my video just because it's been very slow. So review of water rates. As you can see on your agenda, I'll be amalgamating the results from the survey for the upcoming meeting, or the next meeting, or the meeting following, depending on duties, but it is high on my agenda. And then the water bill design, I heard from Vadim last Thursday, so that's an update from November 17th. We signed a contract saying that we would enter into at least 8 hours work. If they use less, then we get charged less, but they just want that from us. So that's a positive development for that water bill design, because they had kind of gone radio silence. So we progress on both fronts slightly.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Not seeing none. Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Mr. McDonald, I did forget to, if you can come back on from him. My apologies. It's the private roads development.
Oh, I thought you were just giving me a pass there, Mr. Mayor. We haven't done anything on that one since the last meeting.
It's just the way my pages are flipped. It was flipped on the other side, so I missed it. And the Williamstown Garage and Fire Hall.
That item has been completed. We are the tender has been issued, and it's on our website and also posted on our internet, our online tendering service marks with the closing date in early January.
Okay, that was going to be my question. Thank you. Now we'll let you off the hook. Okay, thank you. So I'll go back to Councillor's Lang request in regards to the RRCA. I have a motion moved by Martin Lang, second by Sam McDonnell. Be resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry urges the province to continue to work with conservation authorities to find workable solutions to reduce red tape and create conditions for growth prior to passing Schedule 6 of Bill 229. That the province respect the current Conservation Authority municipal relationships, and that the province embrace their long-standing partnership with the conservation authorities and provide them with the tools and financial resources they need to effectively implement their watershed management role. Any questions or comments in regards to the motion? Not seeing none. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, Councillor Lang, for bringing that forward. Okay, and we're going to move into closed session. I have a motion moved by Martin Lang, second by Lyle Warden. Be resolved that the Council of the Township of South Glengarry convene to closed session at 7:32 p.m. to discuss the following items under Section 239 of the Municipal Act. A meeting or part of the meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered is personal matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, environment committee applications, labor relations or employee negotiations, an HR matter, and plans and instructions for negotiations on the Boundary Road Servicing Agreement. You heard the motion. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thanks very much to all the staff and to the general public.